Hi, my loves. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the TRIBEvibe meditation series. This week, our last session of the week, we will be talking about, I can't talk today. We will be talking about some tips and tricks on how to let them things go. All week we've been talking about some of the crazy things that happen when you don't let things go, and I gave you guys like a personal story of my own about how I spent way too many years not letting something go. So today we're gonna, do the good part, right? All of it's good, but the real good part, we're gonna get in there and talk about how we could do some things different so we could have some different outcomes, okay? So I'm happy that you guys are here with me today. I want you to, as always, go click the share button. I'm going to click the share button myself while we're doing it. I'm telling you, I ain't going to tell you to do nothing that I ain't done. I'm not going to do myself. Okay, y'all know what I'm talking about. Whenever Facebook acts right, I tell y'all every time, it never lets me do the same thing twice. And I'm never sure why. I don't even understand what's happening. So hold on 2 seconds. Because we want to get this on here so we can make sure everybody can see us. All right, and click this. I did figure out one thing the other day, that's great. But I'm sure by the time I really get in the swing of it, what Facebook is going to do. They're going to update it, and I'm going to have to figure it out again because it's not working right now. So anyway, all those people who didn't find it, I hope they find it later. So anyway, let's get into it. You guys are ready? Talk about some good juicy stuff. Hold on, I'm going to try one more time. Ha 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 ha! It's on here. Hey, hey, hey. Y'all know, I swear I get sillier as the week goes on. So, I hope y'all are enjoying the silliness because it just, it happens. I don't mean to be silly. It just kind of happens. Okay, and click. And did it share? It shared it. All right, we did that. Okay, anyway, I'm finished. Okay, y'all. So, you ready to talk about some tips and tricks on how to live your best life and get your letting go on? Okay. All right. So, we got 5 of them today. Y'all know I love to have my good note card so we don't make sure we don't forget nothing. Okay? Because I can't always trust this. So, I write it down. Okay. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is let's do this. Before I say anything else, I want to remind you all to have some grace for yourself. Okay, that is one of the biggest things I'm going to remind you a couple times to have some grace, because letting go of stuff isn't easy. If it was easy, you would be doing it. I'm sure you know that there are things in your life that you need to let go. There are some things you may come to the understanding that you need to let them go after this week, or after some time and some deep reflection. But I know some things you need to let go of, and you haven't done it because it's not easy. So you're going to have to practice some grace, because you're going to have to be able to forgive yourself. You're going to have to be able to forgive that situation, that other person. We're going to talk about some other things you're going to have to forgive. But, you got to practice some grace for yourself. So that's the first thing we want to do. So if you taking notes, right there at the top of the book, practice some grace. Okay. All right. All capitals. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is recognizing that when you are feeling like you need to let something go, 9.99 times out of 10, you probably have some expectations that came with that thing that you need to let go, right? So, I don't know. I'm not going to give you no example right now because my brain's not coming up with one. But there are going to be some expectations that you have. And you know what? I can give you some expectations for myself. So when we were talking about my long journey in the collegiate world of book learning and all of those good degrees and things of that nature, when I told you guys, share that story with you guys on Tuesday, of course, I had a lot of expectations that came with that, right? Like, I'm thinking, even something as simple as student loans, right? I'm thinking, okay, I know these student loans are high, and I know this tuition is high every class I take. Like, they're telling me the balance, but I had the expectation of get these student loans, and then at some point, sis is gonna go get a job, right? And the starting salary for the job is XYZ. So when I get that job, I should have enough money to pay back the student loans, right? That was the expectation I had. And even if I wasn't aware of it throughout the whole time, when I got to the end of, the whole process, and I was like, I don't even really want to finish this degree that I've been in school for however many years, umpteen years doing. I didn't even want the degree. And so that expectation that I was holding on to, right? Because I still had those student loans, right? And so that was something major that if I didn't deal with it, it could have prevented me from fully being able to let go of that situation that wasn't serving me. And we talked about that yesterday. You know, the things that aren't serving you and you're not able to serve them, those things need to go. And that wasn't serving me, and I was serving it at the moment, but I wasn't going to be able to fully serve it because I wasn't going to be able to give my all to it because it wasn't something I really was passionate about doing. So when I had that expectation of being able to get that high salary and I was going to be able to pay back these student loans, when Sally Mae called me, right? Or even when I was saying, like, I need to quit school, I could have let that come in and trump everything else, because be like, oh sis, you still got that money you owe, so you most definitely need to go finish this degree so that you can get that job and pay them loans back. So, you know, sometimes we have to recognize those additional components to the letting go situation, that we got expectations that we held. And then also allow yourself to grieve them. It's very, very personal, and I would share those things with you all, but they impact other people, so I won't tell you that story, but I'll tell you the roundabouts of it. When I was in therapy, I think, when was that? Maybe a couple years ago, my therapist literally said to me, have you grieved that? And I mean, it was like, you know, she smacked me in the face with it, because I was like, yo, what you just said was so accurate. Like, I hadn't even recognized the fact that the challenges that I was in there talking to her about consistently, right? Like, I can understand that I was going through some stuff. Like, I'm like, oh, I need to be in here, honey, because I'm going through some things. And that was very obvious, but I had not realized that I had all these expectations built up. And the situation that I was currently in was like, I mean, it was so heavy that what my expectations were looked nothing like what the situation was. And yet I was actively still having to engage and go through the situation, okay? And so, honey, when I tell you that once she said that out loud and I started to make sure I was cognizant of that fact and started to give that grief space in my life, and allowing myself to process it and things of that nature, it really took a lot of the weight off of the situation and allowed me to let it go, because I was holding on to the grief. I wasn't holding on to the particulars of the situation. I was holding on to the grief. The fact that what I thought was going to happen didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. And I was holding on to that and didn't even know it. So anyway, that's one of the things you need to do when you're letting go of things, because also the expectation and things of that nature, those are things that are in the past, right? And we talked about that yesterday. Living in the past, that's living with guilt, that's living in fear, because you're holding on to that and it's preventing you from being able to live in the present, preventing you from being able to make decisions about moving forward. So all of that is a no-no. So if you're doing any of that, work with yourself to try to be aware of it. It's not that I'm saying all this to you, you have the epiphany. I mean, when I had the epiphany about that stuff, I was still currently going through what I was trying to let go of. So it was very challenging for me to do it. But I was very empowered also by knowing, right? Like, that empowered me to be able to make some different decisions in my life and to order my steps. Okay? All right. So let me make sure I told y'all out of that one. All right? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Number 2. Number 2, stop trying to control stuff. Y'all know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. You can't control that weather. So I really literally want you to do this, because I think sometimes it makes it very, very easy for us to superimpose some of those concepts, right? Some things that are over here and they may be a little bit higher than where we are, or just a little bit out of our understanding, a little bit beyond our reach. When we compare it, that ain't the word, when we couple it. So when we marry it with something that we have a full grasp of, understanding of, ability to practice, things that we have already made a habit, it makes it a lot easier. Okay? So think about the weather outside. This is the example I gave y'all the last time, and I'm going to stick with it because it's good. When it works, don't change it. When the weather is bad outside, you can't change that. You have a full, comprehensive understanding of the fact that you can't change the weather. Okay? Like, there's no other explanation that needs to come with that. So if you start to understand that these situations with other people, those other people are just like the weather. You cannot change them. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you got a rain stick and you think you're going to shake it and make it rain or make it stop raining. Whatever you're going to do, it's not going to change that weather. And whatever you do is also not going to change other people. Other people change when they feel as though it's, well, not even when they feel as though it's a benefit to them. Sometimes they just really do not have the understanding of the situation in the way you do. And so I don't want to be judgmental of those people. So we're not going to go too far down that rabbit hole. And I want you to make sure that you give some grace. Here we are again with the grace. I want you to give some grace to those other people and find it within yourself to understand that. I mean, like I said, I get to a point where I don't want to say sympathetic, but it actually kind of makes me feel bad for the person, not in like a pity type of way, but just to be able to see a situation one way and find that another person is struggling to see the situation, and especially when you're able to see how detrimental the situation is. You know, it may not be detrimental to them, but maybe it's fucking up your relationship. Excuse my French, but I felt like I needed to say it. Maybe it's doing that, right? And so you're like, we can't even be great, right? I want to be great, you want to be great, but we can't because you can't see the situation in the way you need to. And so at times like that, if you take yourself out of the situation, it's a lot easier because it feels so personal when you're in there. And you know, we're talking about letting things go. Part of that is taking yourself out of the situation so you can see it for what it fully is. That's why a lot of times when you tell your folks and them about what's going on and they be like, honey, I can see that. That ain't right. That ain't right. You have a hard time seeing it because you're too close. So if you back up, take yourself out of it. Perception is everything, right? Perspective, not perception. Perspective is everything. Take yourself out of the situation and understand that sometimes the situation is just the weather. And you can't change it. Okay? See how I made that real simple? Write it down. Okay. I'm going to stop telling y'all to write stuff down. Okay. So, also, I want y'all to make sure that y'all are fully aware and get it way down deep in there. I want it to be all in the fibers of your body. For you to understand that just how we talking about you can't change them, folks. You need to stop thinking about what you think somebody else thinking about, what you thinking about, they thinking about, okay? Stop it. Leave that stuff alone. Other people's thoughts, y'all know we talked about this before. Most of the time, they're not thinking about you because they think about themselves. They're actually thinking about what you thinking about them, okay? To make it real complicated, you thinking about what they thinking about, they thinking about what you think about. Don't make no sense. You can't control other people's thoughts, but generally speaking, unless you have really had a super deep dive conversation and unless that person is really wholly aware of how they're feeling about the particular situation, you're not going to know. And so it's really not worth the energy and effort for you to really spend the time just down dwelling on what other people are thinking. Okay? So that part of don't try to control them other people like the weather. Don't try to control them other thoughts like the weather. Control your own thoughts. Alright, let me make sure I done told y'all the stuff. Okay, we got all of it. Alright, number 3. Y'all ready? We rolling through them today, honey. These is nice and concise. They got good examples. All of it's working in harmony. So I hope this is speaking to somebody today. Okay. Alright, so number 3. Let me tell y'all, I'm gonna put the note card down. I'm gonna speak to y'all from the heart, okay? Y'all ready? I personally am on this journey, okay? So we on a journey together, folks, okay? And I told y'all, I talk to y'all about stuff I know about. I don't just be talking about it, I be being about it. I realized, a couple years ago, I can't tell you the exact date, that I was personally not fluent in healthy boundaries. Okay, y'all like how I strung them words together. I wasn't fluent. I wasn't exercising them. I think I was aware of, but I didn't really execute them. And it don't really work unless you execute. And so, I mean, my friends probably be tired of hearing me say stuff because I told y'all when I get something, I had that aha, that epiphany moment. I mean, it becomes a personal mantra to me. I start recognizing it in myself, recognizing everybody else, so everybody else got to hear about it. And my auntie said to me one day, she was like, "You sure like to talk about boundaries." And I was like, yes, sis, because I'm reminding myself while I'm reminding you, okay? And also, the boundary you got right there is either non-existent or is real raggedy, so we need to address it. But, ooh, honey, I still will talk up a boundary, and I have gotten to the point where I done added more words, y'all. So now I tell people, first I was like, you need to have boundaries. Then I was like, you need to have healthy boundaries. And then I was like, oh, no. You need to have firm, healthy boundaries. So that's where we at on the journey, okay? We had firm, healthy boundaries. The definition of that, my definition of that is that you recognize where, okay, so to use some of my therapist language, you have like a joy and a pain cycle, right? So we talked about yesterday defense mechanisms and working in dysfunction and things of that nature, right? So there's somewhere in the middle is kind of like this line, right? Because what you want to do is be able to know where the line is between where your joy is, and there's a line, right? The firm, healthy boundary, and then the pain, okay? So that makes it kind of black and white, really clear for you. It's not going to be necessarily that clear when you are making the boundary. You may have to put it one place and say, you know what, I need to draw this line a little bit over this way or a little bit that way. And that's okay. It's working, right? Everything is working. It's moving parts. But that's kind of where you can start. Where is the line where I have moved from my joy into my pain? Okay? Where things start making me feel like, this ain't right. Like that gut and that spidey sense start tingling. Where is that line? And so once you establish that line, you need to make sure that it works for you. So like I said, you need to, reassess it, sit down with yourself and be 100. You don't need to involve anybody else. These boundaries are for your person. They're not for other people. They're for you. You exercise them with other people. You ask other people to respect them, but your boundaries ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. Because remember, what did I just say in number 2? That we can't control other people. Your healthy boundaries are for you. It is an exercise of discipline for yourself in order to make sure that you are walking in your fullness and your greatness, okay? So when you get there, you draw the line in the sand. You recognize if it's a healthy boundary because you have worked it out with yourself. Like I said, come back to it a couple times. Then you need to make sure it's firm. And that's where the part of discipline comes in. And I don't think I was cognizant of the lack of discipline that I had in regards to maintaining my boundaries. Because y'all, this ain't nothing new to me. I get on here and talk to y'all about this stuff. I didn't read this in no book. Okay, let me not lie. Sometimes I read things in books, but I like to marry things together, right? Like we was talking about earlier, coupling things together. I'm a beginning to the end type person. So I might have read a piece of it in the book that got to do with this, but I'm going to read the other piece of the book and bring the TV show in and my personal experience, right? I didn't put it all in there and made a good gumbo, right? We working in potions over here, okay? So I done cooked up some stuff. And as I was cooking up this particular pot, I was like, yo, where is the discipline? Because that's, you can recognize it all day, every day. I've been recognizing things for a long time. But actually implementing them in your life, being steadfast in what you say. Remember we talked about yesterday about integrity, about what you say matches what you do, matches what your intentions are. If you don't have firm, healthy boundaries, you're not walking in intention for yourself. Again, these things aren't about other people. We don't come from a place of selfishness. We come from a place of self-full, right? Not selfishness. We're self-full. Like helpful, self-full. Okay? You coming from a place of trying to grow yourself, right? So that you can show up in these different areas, in these different relationships, in these different situations for yourself. You can show up as your best self. So you got to work on you. So when we hear, if I'm talking about somebody else, it's in relationship to tell you to make sure that you don't focus on them because it's about you. And when you're establishing these boundaries, it's about you. When you're being undisciplined because you don't have the firm, healthy boundaries. It's about you. So you have to work out what your relationship is with yourself and why you are having a difficult time establishing firm, healthy boundaries. And a lot of times, like I said, I kind of boiled it down after I got to working on that gumbo, and I'm like, it's missing something. I'm like, it's missing salt. The salt was discipline for me, not for everybody. For me, that's why I had to add the word firm, because it was boundaries and it was healthy boundaries and it was firm, healthy boundaries. I had to add the word firm to remind myself that it requires a level of discipline. Okay. All right, so I hope y'all got some stuff from that, okay? And also when you're doing that, I just want to remind you that when you're finding those boundaries, there are going to be people that are upset with you, right? But what you got to remember is, you don't have to remember. I ain't going to tell y'all what to do. What I have found, is helpful is that think about it in the way of, it's your voice, right? Like your boundaries, what you tell people they not gonna do, okay? So we gonna go there with when you tell people what they not gonna do, and it's not like coming from no bitchy place or nothing like that, no highfalutin place or nothing like that. It's just for facts. You have to make sure that people are respectful of you, right? Because you know what your worth is, and Y'all, I told y'all yesterday I wasn't gonna start preaching, and I'm gonna come back. But it just all marries together. What your voice is, how you respect yourself, like what you feel like your value and your self-worth is. Those things all mirror together. And when you allow yourself to call a thing, right? I love Ayala when she gets to talking about when she just come up with them things and you be like, call a thing. I was calling a thing for years after she said that. But it really is just so simple and concise for you to understand it. Call a thing. And when you don't have firm, healthy boundaries and you let people run all over you and do whatever they want to in your life, you're not respecting yourself. You cannot ask anybody to do things for you that you do not do for yourself. Okay? And you need to respect yourself sometimes, not sometimes, all the times. You need to respect yourself more than anybody else comes in your space. Okay, you set the standard. The standard should be higher than what other people come in. Okay, they can match you, but you should never run into a situation where somebody is respecting you more than you respect yourself. That is so backwards. So, not judging you if that's where you at in your journey, but I'm just letting you know that, it's a different space and it's something you need to work on. If you find yourself in them situations, it may not happen in every situation, but maybe you go to work and you aren't able to exercise your voice. That's an area where you need to work on it. Okay? All right. I love you. Sometimes I beat you up, but I bring you back. I beat you down, bring you back up. I like to work in that. Okay, anyway. All right. All right, y'all. Okay, number 4. Number 4 of the things we're working on in regards to helping us learn to let things go. Emotions just mean you're human. I just wanted to sink in. Emotions are a part of being human. I didn't say good emotions. I didn't say bad emotions. I didn't say neutral. I didn't say none of that. I didn't say how many emotions you have at one time, how little you have at one time. Emotions are human. So you are a human. So you're going to have emotions. And I want you to take it out of your mindset that there are negative and positive emotions. There's no such thing. Because you are who you are, right? You are, period. And you are emotions, period. Sometimes you gotta, switch out them words, right? So that you can understand that those are the same things. You are emotions. Like those are like, okay? And so, in regards to that, I think that sometimes we beat ourselves up. Here I am back to the grace, okay? Sometimes we beat ourselves up. Because we feel as though we shouldn't be having those particular types of emotions. And let me tell y'all what the crazy thing is. The real crazy thing is when you beat yourself up because you're happy. Oh, honey, when you going through something and you done got to the point where now you feeling a type of way because you happy, I need you to go talk to somebody. You don't hear with us still. come to this as well, but I need you to go talk to somebody, because if you're feeling a type of way about being happy, I need you got some other stuff up underneath that you need to work out, and we ain't gonna get there today because you're not talking to me, and I'm also not a therapist. But emotions just are, and we talked about yesterday that things are scary, and the scary is the fruit, right? And we talked about what are the roots, and the roots of scary is fear, right? Okay, makes sense, right? And then sometimes there's some other stuff beneath the fear. Sometimes there's some like disappointment, some resentment, some anxiety for the unknown, which, is all fear too. But, sometimes there's a level deeper than just the word fear, right? And so it's okay. All of those things are okay. I'm here to tell you, all of those things are okay. It's it's too heavy to be going through something and then also to add on the judgment and the criticism and the ridicule, or I don't know. I'm trying to make it make sense for y'all, because I know that y'all have been there before, and I'm trying to put it into words. But y'all know y'all been there before. So when you're having those heavy emotions because you're trying to unpack something, or you're going through something heavy, or whatever, you happy and you can't understand why you can't be happy when you should be, or why it feels foreign to be happy. When you're going through any of those things, the last thing I want you to do is add on top of all of the stuff you're already going through is your own personal feelings about feeling a type of way. Honey, don't feel a type of way about feeling a type of way, okay? Use a word to define the word. Don't feel a type of way about feeling a type of way. I just want you to be okay with being you. In whatever shape, form, fashion, emotional state, hairdo, makeup, no makeup, weight, height, whatever. Go up the stairs and can't breathe. Go up the stairs and can breathe. Whatever way you show up, be okay being you. It's okay. You are where you are because that's where you need to be, and it is okay. And so when you're letting go of things, whatever stage of letting it go, be okay with being here. All right? Okay. All right. Number 5. All right, number 5. This is the last one. Y'all ready? Number 5 is forgiveness. That's it. No, there's more. Forgive yourself. Forgive other people. Forgive the situation. Forgive that stuff you was grieving about. Forgive yourself for feeling bad about feeling bad. Whatever you need to do, forgive it. Because forgiveness is not for other people. Remember, we said it's all about us. Forgiveness is for you. Okay? And I think when you hear people talk about it on an expert level, they generally will say that. I think that's pretty common knowledge at this point when you really get into talking about forgiveness, that it is not for the other person. It is for you. Okay? And we are all going to make mistakes. And I talk about practicing grace all the time, and this is a part of it. It's forgiveness, right? When I say practice the grace, I'm like instantly forgive yourself, right? That's really what I'm saying, like instantly. When you practicing that grace, instantly. I don't care what it was, instantly practice the grace. Instantly forgive yourself. And so I think it's a little, you know what? I'm not even gonna say that. I think it's challenging in every aspect. Whichever thing you find to be the most difficult is the place you need to work on it more. And that's why I said practice forgiving yourself first, because once it becomes once we start practicing it, it becomes a habit. We master it. And once you can master it for yourself, I think it's a lot easier for you. If you can do like this with yourself, you could do like that in other situations. Don't mean you keep accepting the same thing, right? Because number 3 was firm, healthy boundaries, right? So that don't mean that you just go and keep letting the situation that's not serving you, you're not serving it, continue to keep happening. That's not what we're doing, because we're talking about letting things go. But part of that process of letting things go is to be able to forgive yourself. Forgive the situation, forgive the grief, forgive whatever, right? Okay. And also, like I said, it's for self-healing. Right? That's why we was talking about it's for yourself. It helps you to unwind, because what you'll find, and y'all tell me if y'all know this to be true or not. What you'll find is something happens, right? It's a thread. Situation happens, right? Then what we do with the string? Start tying that boy up, right? We done tied it in a knot here, tied it in a knot here, tied it in a knot here, and then it ends up this wound ball of mess, right? And sometimes we don't even know what started the mess. We don't know how to untangle it, but it's a mess. We know it's a mess, and it's wound tight, and we don't know, but we know, okay? And that part of the self-healing, and part of the journey to start healing for yourself can be forgiving things. You can start there as you start to unpack what different things you feel as though you need to forgive, even if it's forgiving yourself. You start to become more aware of the different aspects and components, right? And then you can start using the other tools, because I haven't said toolkit in a while. I love that analogy, y'all. All of this what we got that I'm talking to y'all about every week is just tools to add to your kit. And so once you start recognizing what the problem is, what the situation is, you can figure out which tool addresses the situation, right? And so that's all we're trying to do. And starting with forgiveness, starting with that grace, immediately for yourself and for the situation and things of that nature, can help you to unpack what the situation really entails. And then you can start picking those tools that you need to start to address the problems. Okay? All right. Y'all working with me? We cooking with grease? All right. The last thing I want to talk to y'all about in the forgiveness aspect of the talk today is resentment. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier when we talked about expectations. Resentment, I think, goes hand in hand with that. I think when you have expectations, that if those expectations aren't met, resentment quickly follows. And you may not be cognizant of any of these things happening, okay? For all my folks out there with parents, which is everybody on the thing, tell me it ain't a time where your parents didn't show up the way you thought they were supposed to show up, and that you ain't got no resentment for that. It got to be sometime. I don't care how your parents showed up for you. They could have been the world's greatest parents, and that one time they came to every other football game, but that one time that they couldn't come to the football game because they got stuck at work or something, and you was upset. It don't have to be nothing big, but it just is a thing. It's a thing that comes with expectations. Resentment comes with it. And so it is also something that holds us in the past. It's also something that we end up attaching guilt to and things of that nature that don't allow us to maintain our present state of mind and our ability to move forward. And so that's something else that you need to forgive sometimes. Sometimes you realize you had those expectations and they turned into resentment, and you need to be able to forgive the situation or yourself or the other person for the resentment that you're harboring. All right. Okay. So, y'all know I'm going to run them down one more time. We had 5 things on our list of tips on how to help you let go of stuff. Okay? All right. So, number 1 was to recognize your expectations that you had for the situation, thing, for yourself, whatever, and find a way to be able to grieve those things so that you can be able to let them go. Number 2, stop trying to control other people. Let them other people be the weather and understand that you can't stop it from raining, okay? Because you need to make sure that you're focused on you, and when you spend your time and energy focusing on other people, you can't let it go because you can't control them, so it's not working for you. All right, okay. Number 3, set firm, healthy boundaries. That's it. That's the post. Number 4, you're human, so you have emotions. Be okay with emotions. You are where you are because you're supposed to be there. If you're going through something hard, it is not because you deserve to be going through something hard, but it happened, and so you need to be able to be in the hard part of it so that you can move through it, right? Because obviously that's how you feel, so you need to be able to recognize it so that you can move through it, so you can do what? Let it go. All right. Number 5, forgiveness. So, we talked about practicing that grace. Forgiveness. You got to have, if you got that resentment and you hold on to them expectations that turn into resentment, you need to forgive everything. Everything and everybody. Not for them, but for you. Okay? Don't mean that you forget about your healthy boundaries, your firm healthy boundaries. But you need to do that in order to start on the journey for your healing process. You gotta let that stuff go. You gotta forgive it so we can do it. Let it go. All right. Okay. I hope y'all learned something exciting today. I didn't tell y'all earlier, so y'all know what I'm about to say. Take your button, hit the. I did. I talked about sharing earlier because I was going through the struggle of sharing. I gave myself some grace, and I completely forgot that I talked about that earlier. Anyway. Go ahead, hit share button if you ain't hit it again. Shameless plug. And also, what else I want you to do? Like, follow, subscribe, share. Go to the website. If you ain't on YouTube channel, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on Instagram, go to Facebook. If you're on Facebook, go to Instagram. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, go to the YouTube. Visit BlackAmethystNaturals.com. Buy something for your folks. And then also, your accountability partner. Y'all know I get on here all the time and I try to make y'all find your accountability partner because I think it is imperative. So I'm going to keep reminding y'all. If you haven't found them, find you one so you can unpack some of this stuff after we get off, because y'all see, we going deep. I started y'all off nice and easy. I was like, all right, y'all, let's talk about what is meditation. I did start off a little deep. I was like, what's anxiety and stress? But we ain't really got into it, but we starting to get into it. So find you somebody to unpack some of this stuff with, okay? I see some people tagging on the Facebook. Proud of you. My folks on Instagram, make sure you send it to the people so that they can watch it, so that y'all can have that talk. If it's somebody that you need to let go and you want to let them know without telling them, you have my permission. Send it to them. Okay, I'm being silly again. All right, so y'all ready for meditation? We getting into it today. If you were here yesterday, if you missed yesterday's post, I want you to go back and watch it. Because honey, at the end of the video, everything jumped off my station. All of my stuff jumped off my station, y'all. I went to Target today and bought a whole new tripod because it was acting up yesterday, and I didn't fire it. I let it go. So I forgot what I was telling y'all. I was trying to be silly and I forgot what I was telling y'all. I was just probably telling y'all to go watch it because I thought it was funny and everything jumped off the station. But anyway. This is what I was telling y'all. So I switched over. We have converted. So now I will no longer be throwing Andy up here on the tablets. We didn't convert it over to the Bluetooth speaker. Okay. So if y'all cannot if y'all cannot hear it, let me know in the chat. It should be okay. If he is booming to the point where you can't, your speaker's crackling and all that stuff, let me know that as well. We want to make sure we can get the volume together. And I hadn't practiced it out because I literally just did this right before I clicked live. So y'all practice some grace with me if we get to some technical difficulties. Okay. All right. Housekeeping. When you're doing your meditation, I just want you to be somewhere comfortable. Sit in your best chair, lay in your best bed, whatever you want to do. If you want to get real into it, be grounded. Get on the flow. Okay? We haven't talked about that yet. That's another week worth of things that we're gonna talk about. It's in there. It's on the list. We're gonna get to it. If you really want to be, get your best vibes on, your best zen on, get on the flow. Be connected with the earth. Okay? All right. I just want your spine and your neck to be straight. Your arms and your legs can be bent. If you got distractions, try to limit them. If you have some distractions and you can't limit them, it's okay. Just tell them distractions, hey, when we in the meditation, tell them distractions, hey, when we in meditation, acknowledge them and come back to the exercise. You cannot do this wrong. You're here, so you did everything you needed to do. I'm glad to see you, and we about to get started. So y'all ready? Everybody comfortable? All right, let's get into it. All right, come on, Andy, with your funky self. Y'all know what movie that's from? All right, here we go. Wait a minute, Andy's loading. Andy don't want to let me be great. I just be trying to have a smooth transition. I need a tech person.
Begin with the eyes
All right,
open.
there you go.
A nice soft focus, just aware of the space around you.
Sound good?
So not staring at one thing, but just seeing everything very softly. And just maintaining that focus, taking a couple of big deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, noticing how the lungs expand, the body filling with air. As you breathe out, a sense of ease as the muscles in the body soften. And just one more time, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And if you'd like to, you can just gently close your eyes now. And take a moment just to enjoy that feeling of having stopped, having paused, nothing to do, nowhere to go. And just feeling that sensation of the body pressing down, the weight of the body pressing down against the seat beneath you, the floor beneath you. As always, just checking in with the body, with the space around you, maybe noticing any sounds around you, noticing any resistance to those sounds, just allowing everything just to come and go. And as you sit there, or as you lie there, just noticing how the body feels today. Perhaps even any areas where you feel that maybe you're holding on to a little bit of tension. Areas that would benefit from letting go. And just for a few moments, just noticing how the body's breathing, that rising and falling sensation. Don't need to do anything with it. Taking a moment to rest the attention there. Imagine that above your head is a steady flow of warm sunlight flowing down into the body, all the way down towards the feet and the toes. We're going to imagine that this sunlight fills the body. And as it fills the body, it's just going to melt away any discomfort, any tension, just softening the body, softening the mind. So we're going to start down at the toes. So again, imagining that steady sunlight flowing down through the body, filling the toes, the feet, up past the ankles and into the lower half of the legs. So once you set it in motion, it's as though it's just happening. Sometimes we're aware of it, sometimes the mind wanders off. Whenever the mind wanders, we just gently bring it back again to that image in the mind. So again, as that sunlight moves through the body, just melting any tension. moving into the upper half of the legs, and the muscles just softening as it continues up towards the pelvis, the waist, and any muscles, any tension, just softening, dissolving in that sunlight. As it continues up through the stomach and the lower back, and any tension just melting away. It continues up towards the chest and the upper back. Any tension just dissolving in the sunlight. Just still that sense of sunlight coming down from above the head into the body, flowing down now past the shoulders, down the arms, and towards the hands and the fingers and thumbs. As it travels down the arms, again, just melting any tension. The body just letting go. As it continues to flow down, now filling the area of the neck and the throat. Just everything softening into the jaw, the lower jaw, upper jaw, behind the nose, behind the eyes. Any tension just drifting away. Until that sunlight reaches the very top of the head. So even though the entire body is now filled with that sunlight, a sense of ease, a sense of warmth, a sense of space, we still imagine that it continues. And you can let go of the focus on that image, but allow the feeling to remain. As you bring your attention back to the body, back to that feeling of contact, back to the sounds and the space around you. You can gently open your eyes whenever you feel ready. But as always, taking a moment to notice how the body feels. To notice how the mind feels, having taken a few minutes out for yourself.
Alright, so how's everybody feeling? Whew. I am so glad that you guys come on here with me and participate in that, because I don't know, like, let me know how long you guys have been on. Like, have you been here since we first started doing that? I think we're on week 5, maybe? No, that sounds like too many. Maybe week 4, maybe. Um, but let me know how long you've been on here and how many of the sessions you have like gotten to do, because even starting on Tuesday and doing it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I've done this meditation technique before, but I've never done it like back to back like that. It's so funny to me because it's like the progression through the 3 days of it, and like my ability to be able to follow what Andy's saying about, like, taking that light and shining it down through your whole body and feeling the warmth and all of those things. Like, my ability to be able to do it, like, progress through the 3 days. And I don't know if y'all ever worked on some self-care, healing, wellness, whatever. Worked out some stuff with yourself that you were able to see some changes that quick. Okay. Anyway, y'all know the meditation good. If you don't know, go look at our week when we talked about what does meditation do and how does it work for your brain and all that stuff. But it's just so, I love it because I'm like, oh, I'm exercising my brain. I need to go start exercising my body. Anyway, it's warm outside. I'm gonna start getting outside. I'm telling y'all too much information. All right, my loves. Thank you for coming today. I always appreciate you guys. I want you to make sure you reach one, teach one. So don't forget to tag your accountability partner, or let your mama, daddy, brother, sister, cousin, auntie, and uncle and them, make sure you let them know about it so that they can come on and jump on when they get free. If you can't catch us Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. You can catch the playback on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. I am still trying to get the Spotify together. I got me a new microphone today when I got my new tripod. So, it's coming. The journey is on this way. I'm on my journey to Spotify. So y'all on the journey with me by default. So we gonna get there. I'll let y'all know when it happens. I'm gonna try to work on it this weekend. That's my goal for this weekend. All right. So, all right, my loves. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you back here on Tuesday when we talk about what I don't know yet because I ain't figured it out. But I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know on Tuesday what we gonna be talking about for next week. So, all right. Bye, y'all. Love y'all.